Are you missing out by not making any of your own drum sounds? Because it's really tempting when you're making any kind of electronic music to go to a sample pack, grab a kick, grab a snare, grab a top loop, and
wait a minute, what? Away we go!
See, I'm 100% guilty of this as well. Sometimes it just helps with the flow to get things going, but I've also taken the time to build up a nice little library of my own sounds that are unique. For example, I've shown quite often how I use my sharp snare. I created it in FM8, and I basically got inspiration from Noisier talking about synthesis drum design, and I thought I'd have a go myself, and I made this snare that I've used in countless tracks since 2016.
Make it to the end of this year.
Pretty much every DAW has synths included that are 100% capable of doing this kind of design. You don't need something like FM8. And I'll show you the fundamentals of making a kick drum sound, and then you can use and apply exactly these same techniques onto things like Serum and Massive for yourself. Best to probably start from an initialized patch. Best if we go with a sine wave. First, we want that attack, and then it just zhoosh down into the kick drum itself, right? Let's say 12 semitones up. What we want to do is then pitch it right down. So we're just going to take the tune here on this sine wave. We'll do an ADSR for it, right? And what we want to happen is we want that to pitch down probably somewhere around the 24. Now we want to have a little bit of attack happen on that, so it's going to take a second to pitch down. And if we give it a really long release, it will never recover. So there, we've got that initial pitch and then scoops down really, really quickly. Now this is all going to be dependent on the attack as to how it responds. There's some other little things that you can do to it. Like if we use another oscillator here and we turn on, say, the white noise for it by using the filters. Just something subtle like that just in there. Most synths are going to have some kind of filter that also has a drive and distortion on it, right? So if we do something like a low pass gritty on here, it's going to add more harmonics into that tone, right? So you can really dial it into exactly what you want it to be. Now why that's great and super useful, because no matter what, that kick drum will always be in exactly the key you want, and you can always adjust the length exactly how you want. You've got all of that control. There are many other options to work with. For example, Logic, Machine and FL Studio all have their own dedicated drum synths built into them. Without all the technicalities of having to learn the synth, they just hone in on the key controls, and they just want to give you a really streamlined process like this. And Logic's is literally called drum synth, snares and claps. Now we can dial this in to be whatever we want. It says root key here, but we did C before, so let's have this go off the root note of C as well. Can dial things in with tone and body. What I like to do is create a couple of versions of it. We're going to have a nice little snappy version, and then we're going to have more of our traditional snare sounding version. Can put a bit of space on it by really simply just sending them into a reverb. So now we've got our own completely synth-based kick drum and snare drum. Now the fact is, if you've got a DAW and you're interested in what I'm talking about, 99.9% of you will also have a microphone. That doesn't have to be a fancy microphone like this one, for example. Even something like this that just plugs into your phone and turns it into a mobile recorder. But if you don't have that, hell, literally just use the microphone on your laptop. Use anything to create your own unique sounding samples, and you can record things like finger snaps, claps, or even my favorite, the teabag shaker, and mouth hi-hats. All of these add something totally unique to your drum break to make it 100% yours. Now there's also nothing to stop you then layering this up with other sounds or classic breaks. That's what I did in the track Do Better, which allowed me to flex by actually pulling back all of those sounds and just playing the bare naked classic break at key moments to give this vibe here.
Are you down with me? I don't even know if I still like you.
And then I was able to release that track on all of the major platforms with the channel sponsor and my distributor, which is DistroKid. And they allow me to do that at a price an independent artist can easily afford. If you want to get your music out there on all the major platforms, check the link below in the description for a discount off of your first year today. Now it takes a little bit of work to get all these sounds working together and building up your own break sound, but with a little bit of finesse, compression, EQ and some chopping of your mistakes, you can actually put something together really unique like this right here. Now, if you need some unique vibe sounding breaks and you don't have any, you can download a free resource below, which is the sampler for the Soulful Drum and Bass pack, completely free. That is linked below for you. Now, something that's really critical when doing this kind of sound design is knowing exactly what all the meters and visualizations do in your DAW. It helps you better record, it helps you get a better end result. So to make sure you know exactly how to use all of those things, watch this video next so you don't make any mistakes when you're making your own drum samples. And I will see you in just a moment in that video.